This podcast is brought to you by Giant Food. And today, more than ever, they are committed to you because we are all in this together so we can continue to share the little things that matter.
Recorded live from the lobby of the Line Hotel in Adams Morgan, Washington, D.C. Full Service Radio is proudly supported and hosted by Simplecast, the easiest way for a podcast creator to publish and distribute audio on the internet. For more information, visit simplecast.com.
Peace, everyone, and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Line, D.C. This podcast is where dynamic people of color in the food and agriculture space share their personal food journeys, passions, and perspectives that stem from the land, all exemplifying the spirit of activism in their own edible way. Let's get started. Peace and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting here on Full Service Radio. So one of the many things that I love about this show is being able to bring folks back to catch up and revisit some of the conversations that we had previously. So for today's episode, I am so excited to have back Kevin Alsop, who is a dynamic grower and teacher of the garden based in Capitol Heights, Maryland. For those who don't know, Kevin started his journey when he was dealing with some health issues and he really wanted to get his health right. And so he explored food and then he eventually explored farming and gardening and has been on this journey ever since, with some other things in between as well. So I'm excited to speak with him again and welcome back to Edible Activist, Kevin. How are you today?
I'm great, Melissa. How are you and my Edible Activist family?
Yes, I love that you call me family. And you're Edible Activist alum.
Alum. Waiting for the t-shirt.
You got your t-shirt.
No, I want the Edible Activist alum t-shirt.
You know what? You're so right. And I'm actually working on something behind that. We're going to talk offline. I got you. Though. I got you.
You are working on, what's this, your fourth year now? What is it?
Oh gosh, we are in 2020, right? This is I can't even keep up. It's either I think it's my second or third year. And which brings me to say, Kevin, you're another one of those A1s, day ones, however they say it. Like you were one of my you were my first episode.
Oh, that's right. I was, wasn't I?
You were my first episode and you were so encouraging. I was nervous. You said, relax. You have a background in radio. And the conversation obviously went so well because you were so encouraging. And I appreciated that about you. And even still to this day. And, our conversation is divine because I was thinking about you a few weeks ago because I'm as we're going through, as I evolve in my work, a lot of these conversations, they're always just, the words still resonate with me, and I was thinking back to that first episode and I was thinking about you. And then like a week later you called and I was like, that's Kevin. I was just thinking about Kevin. So, we spoke, had a great conversation. I said, yo, Kevin, would love to have you back on the show. And Kevin's words was, cool. I got my hands in the soil right now, but give me a call later so we can chat about it. And I said, that's my guy, still in his element.
You're still in yours.
Yes.
One of your many.
So welcome back, my friend. I really appreciate you just having your, just being in your presence virtually. We're still here and still being able to connect. And, with all of that said, I definitely just want to, use this, this time to obviously catch up on some of the things that you've been working on. This is, you've said this many times before. We know this, like gardening and growing is a lifestyle. I've had the pleasure of interviewing you twice. I've interviewed you face to face. I've seen you out in the field. We've taken photos of you, and really the message has never changed. And every time, I still just remember your words echoing, whoever controls your food source controls you. And so we're in this time of COVID-19, and Kevin, seeds, I've said this many times before, seeds are flying off the shelves,
Yeah.
literally. I went to the
Yeah.
store the other day, there's one pack left, one.
Really? That's
Yes.
beautiful.
Oh, people are the seed.
No, they
I'm
they
sorry.
calling me. They calling me. I know.
Because they said Kevin said a long time ago, grow your own food. So here we are, Kevin, going back to basics, which has always been your foundation, going back to the basics. And, we have folks who are creating, their own mini markets on the side of their houses, in the front of their houses, in the back of their houses, creating their own, food systems. So here we are. Here we are. So definitely just want to spend a few moments and let's just talk about, what are some things that you are, again, I know this is a lifestyle for you, but is there any other things that you're working on? Like anything new on the horizon to let us know about?
Definitely. First, let me say I'm honored that I was your first show. And that was a beautiful memory that you brought back to me, reminding me that I was your first show. So that makes it even more special that 2-3 years down the line that, you're still doing your thing and I'm still doing my thing. So I'm honored that you allowed me to be your first show. So right now, just really ramping up growing. I'm going to say I slacked a little bit last year and began to chase that dollar a little bit more. And but coming into 2020, you know what I mean? It was God just really pushed it back into my spirit to say, hey, I need you to, well, really the end of 2019. Hey, I need you to get back to really putting your hands in that soil, you know what I'm saying, and making this thing happen like I told you to do, years ago. So I ramped that up, but I ramped it up, but I'm not spreading myself thin. So my major project right now, I'm working with Gateway Senior Center here in Capitol Heights. Me and one resident in particular, I call him my OG. We got some boxes that my organization, Feeding 5,000, had built 3 years ago, maybe. And, so I'm just really, my focus is to put as much food back there as possible this coming season, as well as making sure that just other different locations. I mean, I got some food and some plants, I should say, that I got some people growing in the Carolinas as well as up here. So just really planting food sources where I can, you know what I'm saying, with the help of other people. So that's really my main focus.
I love that this work has always been for you. Like this is spiritual work, and this is a God's purpose, and you are so transparent about that. This is, even when you were operating under Feeding 5,000, that was a vision that was given to you, and just with you saying, this is my next mission, to plant garden beds and put these boxes at, the senior citizens home. I love that you're always led by the spirit within you. And, this isn't, just this self-fulfilling work that it's all about me and my ability and what I know how to do, but literally wanting to feed into others.
First of all, if it was me, I would not be picking gardening. That's some work. That's work. I would pick something where I could push a couple buttons and
Call it a
everything.
day.
You know what I'm saying? So nah, it's like I'm from Philly. I grew up in the hood. I didn't grow up, like I said, I didn't grow up on no farm and none of that stuff. So, when I got into this, like you said, it was health, you know what I'm saying? But me broadening, the more and more I got into it, I just grew to love it. But when I made it more of a business, with the organization and all that, it soured me. It soured me on it. It just I lost my passion for it. And part of it I lost my passion for because I allowed, and I'm not blaming anybody else, but dealing with folks trying to help folks ain't as easy unless you like handing them something. It's not the easiest thing to do. And so I just really had to get my love back for growing. And not think about an organization or trying to get a grant or go sitting in front of this council person or this mayor. You know what I mean? Because you've been on site with me, Melissa. When you come on site with me, it's a whole nother get down. You know what I'm saying? So those cats, the mayors and the politicians, they've been out there with me. They've been out there, but I ain't gonna ask you. But for so many, I really don't want to ask you. I'm asking you to help you help yourself. I'm not asking you because I need you to help me. I don't want to sound arrogant about it. You know what I'm saying? Because I can grow enough food in my own space for me and my family and some people. You know what I mean? So when I go out, when I go to the senior center, one of the major reasons why I'm going back to the senior center is because one, I built those boxes, and that's where I know the Spirit of God led me to. And two, I know I got some legitimate help with me and my old head there. And me and him together can produce a whole lot of food for a whole lot of people. So I make it about producing the food and not about the people. I make it about producing the food and not necessarily about the people. So, as far as relying on the people to produce the food, because if you keep waiting on that, that's a real setup for a letdown. So I take what I got with who I got, and I know what we can do. So I try to keep it simple. That's why I follow the Spirit, because the Spirit keeps things so simple. We complicate matters. Oh, I need to file for this. I need to do this. And I'll just grow some plants and go put them in the ground. Forget all that other stuff, man. I ain't got time for that.
One thing you already know Kevin, like Kevin, truth teller, doesn't mind saying what's on his mind and being transparent about it. And I really thank you for just putting that out there, because it's easy. We all know, especially with those who are operating nonprofits and platforms, which no discredit whatsoever. There's some
none whatsoever. None whatsoever.
Yeah. But getting caught up, in the operational side, I can see, and I've seen it firsthand just from others who have ran organizations. It's so easy to get caught up in the operational side and the politics of it all. Let's set operations to the side. Getting caught up in the politics of it, literally, and then losing your love for it, like losing your passion for it. Like, it's not even fun anymore.
Listen, can I say something right there? I want to grab right there.
Yes.
Like you say, getting caught up in the politics of it. You see our food system, I'm talking about on a national and international level, and you see what screws that up. The politics of it screws that system up, among other things. So do you think I want to bring that down to me at another level when I see it don't work? People need to open their eyes and instead of look at what they're doing as a sample. So I don't want to bring politics in it. I'm not going to allow politics to hinder it here at this level where I'm at. I'm not going to bring it into play because I have the ability to take seed, produce plants, and put it in the ground. Those things are in my control. All that other stuff, whether you want to give me something or not, or whether you want to come out or not, is not in my control. I can get a lot done with me and somebody else, or me and two other somebody else's, or how many see fit, than I can get done sitting here waiting for some two somebody else's and three somebody else's. And all. Nah, I don't. I'm a seed. I plant myself in an area or in a place, and I expect to grow. Or I won't go
Ooh.
there. Or I won't go there. I won't go there.
Mm.
I won't go there. God won't let me go there. I go there a day. Next day I'm out. Like,
You've uprooted yourself. Peace.
you know what I'm saying? No, you know what I'm saying? Nah. Nah. That's me. I'd be like, oh, that's me wanting to go there. Nah, that's a waste. We don't have that type of time. You look at the period we in. I mean, the food is just one thing, but you better decide on who you want to be around with, who you want around you for the rest of your life. Because you see a whole lot of people had to quarantine themselves or make their circle immediate. Immediate. So I know who I want to be around me. I know who I need around me. So my focus is to make sure I have the place where I can have those people who I believe need to be around me, be able to be around me. Now, if they choose not to, that's on them, but that ain't my fault. I just did my part. I did what I was supposed to do. What's in my control? I love it like that. I just do. I love self-sufficiency. I mean, I'm not totally self-sufficient, but I'm working towards whatever I need to do to make sure me and mines be fine. So whoever mines is, I'm not finished adding to mines. I know I'm not finished adding to mines. But yeah, where we at now?
I'm sitting here fanning. Kevin, remember, so when we were out, this is maybe about a year or so ago, at your garden space, where you were operating in at previously. And this was actually during the point where you were growing. You were growing a lot, but we were also, this was part of Xavier Brown's collective of growing the fish peppers for his pippin sauce. And you definitely just shared some words that, just again stood out. And we talked about this ideal of, not even the idea, it's not anything new. Talked about a bartering system, and food as currency, and growing amongst your neighbors and collaborating and bartering food and exchanging food. And I was thinking about that more recently. I was actually on a call with the amazing Jennifer Lumpkin, who used to be down in this area, and she's now in Cleveland. Shout out to Jennifer. And, and she cannot tell, she can never tell her food story without talking about her family. And so one of the things that she had mentioned, and part of her food story, is that we created our own food system, and our own food system was right outside of our house. She said, I only knew food through my family. I didn't know food through grocery stores. I didn't know food through anybody else, because my great-grandfather was a sharecropper. This is the house we moved in. This is how I knew food. And she, even brought up how her aunt would send her mangoes, just swapping. And then she, cultivated Micro Connect because she wanted to create spaces for people to swap produce, and just other things. And it's just been so just even more resonating with me now. And again, we're here in this space, and just going back to that time with you and I in the garden, and just food is currency, and we better get on it now, because we could use each other during this time. We could really collaborate. We could really partner and create our own system. But it seems like we still have more work to do.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting because I actually I gave some guy some tomato and pepper plants about a month ago, and he gave me about 4 mangoes. And you know what I mean? And I was like, but I find myself bartering more because I have the product, but it's just but that's liberating. People don't understand how liberating that is, to be able, and that's what really money is an exchange of I mean, is an exchange of goods. So, I'm glad that, the government decided to give folks stimulus checks, but there's really no exchange. That's more like you're really more sufficient on me. I can wipe all this away and just give you some checks. That's like, it might sound okay, but that's a slippery slope right there. So to have the ability for us to be able to exchange good and create our own economy, that's really what it's about. I mean, to as much as possible. And like I said, you might have some people that if I know you got a tailor, your worth, you'll really see how much you're really worth when people got to give you food for your for your skill set. See, everybody want this dollar, this green dollar. Man, they printing that like crazy. That's
Printing
crazy.
like crazy. Printing like
And,
crazy.
and most folks, they got us to the point where you don't really want the green dollar. They can just give you some electronic thing popping off. You know what I mean? It's like, it's no exchange of goods. It's just, I'll put some numbers in your account and now you good. That is, wait till that fail, because it's bound to fail, because it don't even sound right. You're giving me something. It don't even sound right. It just don't even sound right. It don't even sound right.
Well, Kevin, going back to, being led to can continue and with the senior citizen center, with Gateway Senior Center and growing
Uh-huh.
food in those
Mm-hmm.
boxes, and
Mm-hmm.
not wanting it to be a waste of land, right?
Right.
And so I think of Capitol Heights has been in my mind a lot lately as well. A lot of things have been in my mind lately,
Right.
but I've been
Mm-hmm.
thinking a lot about Capitol Heights because I feel that there is some gentrification that's going to happen in Capitol Heights just by a
Mm-hmm.
number of things that I've seen. And um, I think about all the vacant lots and land that I also see in Capitol
Mm-hmm.
Heights as well, and really just breaking down. I wish I could, I can crunch some numbers. I can't crunch all numbers. And there's some people who are really good at this. But
Right.
seeing that land and it not being utilized and knowing what's going to happen in Capitol Heights very soon or what's on the cusp of happening, I just continue just to shake my head and say that can be land for food. There's not nearly enough, and correct me if I'm wrong, spaces in Capitol Heights, if any, or little to none, where you see land used for community gardens, or just having a space to create, a system, or, to attract species to those vacant,
Mm-hmm.
properties and pieces of land in Capitol Heights. So I'm just really interested in your take on that, being a resident of Capitol Heights and knowing what you know and everything that you have witnessed and growing in Capitol Heights.
I mean, this is where I live at now. But yeah, you're correct. I mean, I definitely see the possibility of the gentrification, but I had a space in Capitol Heights, and in my knowledge, there were more spaces in Capitol Heights that the particular government of Capitol Heights had talked to me about taking over. The space that I was in, they're supposed to be tearing that up, and I'm not sure if they're making a bike path. And all the other spaces, I know somebody bought one and this one and that. So, once again, folks, like I say, the politics of it, here I'm in a space already producing. You know, we don't even really have to talk about two or three other spaces. You know what I'm saying? That's not a conversation we need to have. What you should be saying is, okay, what you need, this is what we got. Let's make this happen. Because it's already happening.
Mm.
And it would happen very easy. 1 minute it wasn't nothing, and the next minute it was popping. So I was doing everything I said I was going to do, mainly out of my own pocket. And we had a successful apprenticeship program. So a lot of it is people, particularly some of us. I don't, because I don't like to paint broad. I don't like to paint with a broad brush. But the ones that I was dealing with, they couldn't come together because at this point, the mayor, if we would have did what we was planning or continued to do what we were doing, he'd be looking like a genius right now. He'd be able to run for county council. He'll be able to say, hey, we saw this coming 3 years ago. He could say he saw it. I don't care. You know what I mean? And from that, we set up this here and that here and this here, and our residents can come and blah, 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 blah. So a lot of it come from people just don't listen. So that's my take. Now, that being said, they are building a park over here, and they're going to put another community garden in it, and so forth and so on. So we'll see where that go. I mean, I'm not saying nothing against it. Because if they come to me and say, hey, we hear you, that dude, and blah, 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 and I'm going to say, okay, this is what it take, boom, 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 boom. And if you're either going to say yes or you're going to say no. But I'm not going to be like, oh, I want to know. No, I don't get down like that. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I don't have time to be wasting. And I definitely don't have time to waste to be begging nobody for nothing. Because I've proven I can put seed in the ground and it grow. That's all I need to know.
You absolutely have. You absolutely have a beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, when I came to visit, I was like, oh my goodness. And I mean, the apprenticeship you mentioned of, like, I remember meeting a couple of the young guys, who were farming, gardening, like it was beautiful. And, I laugh, not laughing at you, but I laugh because I know you and I just know what you stand on. And I know that, again, this is really, purpose-driven work for you. And by the end of the day, it's black or white in that gray area. I mean, I understand. And so you're on a mission. And so that's where the chuckle comes from. Cause I'm like, I know Kevin.
but please don't take it the wrong way. I am one of the easiest persons to negotiate with because all I'm about is getting it done. But if I see you trying to play, and you really don't have to play, because most likely I'm showing you something we've already doing. I'm not asking you, can you do this so we can do this? No, this is being done without you. I want you to be part of this because I know it could grow. But if you don't, okay, then I'm cool with that. But I'm not going to sit here and there's no need to hem and haw when it's happening. There's no need. It's either you in or you not. And that's when I get real black and white and no gray area, because I know you tripping. If I came to you and say, hey, I wanted to start this garden in this space and I haven't started it yet, and you hemming and hawing, I kind of understand. So it's us getting in our way. We don't want to pull from the system, not just the system that feeds us, clothes us, gives us our job, so forth and so on, but the mental system of just, you want this, I don't want what you want. I don't know why I don't want what you want, but I'm gonna just be negative and contrary. If you, but I'm not, trust me, I'm not crying and whining. Trust me. Let it be a disclaimer. I am not whining. It's cool. We growing plenty of food, people getting fed. I'm eating. Melissa knows she comes to the garden. She gonna walk out with food, so it's all gravy. Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted, in Kevin's words. All right, folks, we're actually going to take a really quick break and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Perfect Day, produced by Artists Authentic. For more of Authentic's work, visit allornothingstudios.com.
This podcast is brought to you by Giant Food. Whether you are concerned about diabetes, heart health, losing weight, or just want to improve family meal times, Giant has a team of nutritionists ready to help you make the best decisions to meet your health and wellness goals. You can check out their personalized consultations online or by phone. Just go to giantfood.com/nutrition, or they have nutritionists who are available to answer any of your questions at nutrition@giantfood.com. So Kevin, briefly, we talked about creating our own food systems and what that looks like, and really working together in a collaborative way so that we can barter, and therefore we're creating our own systems that work for us, right? And going back to the basics, because none of this is new. This is going back to what we knew, what our grandparents knew, what our great-grands knew, what our ancestors knew. This has always been your message, us going back to the basics. And so looking at the food system at large, and there are factories that are shutting down. Food is being wasted. Farmers are literally destroying crops on the land, and farmers are literally draining milk, like just a complete waste. And it's just like, we have really come to this space. It blows my mind in more than one way. It really does. It really does. And so with all of that, and of course, with COVID-19 and the entire, with this entire health pandemic, has this really shaken our mindsets to go back to uncondition what we've been conditioned to, what we have been conditioned to for a very long time. Do you believe that this really has shaken up our mindsets? Because we were going to have to change our mindsets. And I talk about this all the time, for us really to, you say you don't think so?
No, I said I hope so. No, I know it has. I know it has. I hope so. And I know it has for a lot of people. I also know that everybody can't go too. So, but I believe, like you said, I believe you said earlier, I know you said, but about the seeds in the stores flying off the shelves, I went to install a garden, and the customer's like, he tried to get a garden box and he was like, there weren't none. So, and people who I've talked to in the past, whether they've been previous clients or not, or just relations that know this is what I do. I got calls. I'm getting calls like, hey, I want to do this. I want to do that. How you do this, how you do that. So it should shake your mindset. But growing the food, like I said, is just one part of it. You know what I mean? You got to shake it, the dependency. And I think if this isn't showing nothing else to a lot of people, it show you that you can kind of, hey, I can survive through this. You know what I mean? What do I need to do to make sure, as to the best of my ability, that I'm in a better position when and well, this is not even over. I think it's just a trial run, me personally. But I think everybody should be trying to move towards self-sufficiency, or giving it a thought. Or if you don't feel like you got the muscle power to do it, somebody who is. So sometimes you just got to hitch your wagon to that, and your wagon might not be able to be physically, but you might be able to buy some seeds. You might got some great credit and want to possibly go into land. This is how families can help each other out. So, because the big food system, and I was hoping you could tell me why they throwing this milk out and this food. Is it because they can't get the trucks to go drop it off? Is there a legal matter where they can't give food away? That makes absolutely no sense to me. But that's what happens when you produce food on a very large scale. It's either one or the other. Either you're not big enough to produce it on a large scale, or
Mm-hmm.
or you know what I'm saying, and that's a waste of time, or you too big and you're you rely on supply chains. I know I'm probably pipe dreaming, but if you had it's just like having it's logical to have a supermarket in every neighborhood. Why can't it be logical to have a garden or a small farm in it?
Right, exactly.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I mean, that's me. I'm hoping you can tell me something, but I don't. I mean, so they throwing it away
Capitalism. That's what
now.
it is.
But, but I don't know anybody that's throwing it away. So it doesn't. I mean, I'm not saying it ain't happening, but you know, I don't know. I don't know. So
So what is the Kevin Alsop growing starter kit? If you had to put one together, if someone's listening and they're feeling charged, like, all right, I'm
mm,
on it, Kevin, not playing no games. Let me get my starter kit. Let me get my starter kit together. What does that starter kit look like?
okay, so that's a that could be answered different ways, but I'm going to answer that question if somebody was to ask me that today, living in this area, this time of the year. Okay,
Gotcha.
because it would vary depends on what time of the year it is.
Absolutely. Yep, you're
Right.
spot on. Yep.
Okay. So this is zone 7, I think 7A, 7B, whatever. I'm in Maryland. Um, so it's still rainy. It's real rainy. The nights are still cool. But what I would have ready, I would definitely have ready to if you like the tomatoes and the peppers, I would have that ready to go on the ground in about another week or two. Don't get antsy. About another week or two, because you want them night temperatures to be above 50, and you want to hope we don't get no more. Like, we got a couple 38-degree nights coming up. You don't want your plants to have. They might survive, but they're gonna be fighting to stay alive, and you don't want to stress the plants like that. So definitely tomatoes and peppers. If you like squashes, cucumbers, those warm weather, um, more drought tolerant crops. Now, that being said, it's always a great time to start herbs, basil, parsley, echinacea, and all that. And a lot of it depends on what your space and what's the time you're going to put into it. But different stuff like that, I might plant some kales or some lettuces below the tomatoes and peppers. Is shaded. It's a lot of different factors. So definitely the warm stuff for sure. If you want to do melons, it's a time melons just start as it gets more warm and warm. You can do some drought tolerant spinaches or any leafy greens. It's a lot of things you could do. It's just, do you have the time and the money? So,
I remember having not even I remember eating some delicious, was it the zebra tomatoes that you grew?
hmm hmm
Delicious.
cool.
Delicious. I'm telling y'all, Kevin hooked me up. Hooked me
Definitely.
up. I mean, the tomato. If you haven't, I think having a homegrown tomato alone should
Right.
really just encourage anyone to just plant. Because when you've had a bad tomato like out of season, like just
Mhm.
it ruins the dish and it just ruins your life a bit. Okay, but to have a
Mhm.
homegrown tomato and pepper, goodness, 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 goodness.
But
Well,
I would encourage the herbs really now's a great time to do herbs. Especially, to help your immune system. They got different stuff where you can do herbs in the boxes, and
mm-hmm.
or it warm up enough you can put it right out there directly in the garden. It'll help repel some bugs. You just remind me. I just left that mint too. A whole bunch of mint at that senior center. I meant to grab me a stalk of that mint. You know what I mean? Like, I got mint, echinacea. I'm drinking sage tea right now from the flowers of the sage. I mean, the experience of being able to just go out to my back. I live in a townhouse on a deck. Just to go out there and snip me some sage or some echinacea and make me some tea or some lemon balm. I'm good. I'm good.
Kevin, so if anyone wants to connect with you, they're like, hey, I want to start my
Mm-hmm.
garden, whether they're in Capitol Heights or not, they just want, they want to consult,
Mm-hmm.
where can they
Mm-hmm.
find you? Because you are the man with the plan.
Yeah, I know. I need to get my social media thing better. But you can just, if you don't mind, email me, Kevin at alsopbusiness.com. That's, really the best way to get me right now. My daughter be like, Daddy, you should do the videos and the YouTube. I'll be like, all right.
Well, let your daughter set that up then. She can be
Yeah,
she can
North
be the
Carolina.
orchestrator. She could be
North
the
Carolina.
orchestrator and you just show up.
Nothing. They just whatever. I would do it, but you know, that's the best way to get me right now. I do have a Facebook page, but yeah, that's the best way to get me.
That's okay. All right. So they'll email you. They'll email you. They will
Yeah.
definitely
Or,
email
or
you.
get in contact with you and you get in contact with me.
And I am the connector. I am definitely the
If
connector.
you don't
All
mind.
right.
That's if you don't mind. I'm not trying to make you myself.
No, of course. I don't mind. I love doing it. I love doing it. All right, Kevin. So before I let you go, because I know you got some things to do, we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do a quick rapid fire, which you know about, but we're gonna ask you again
Mm-hmm.
one question you don't know. Actually, no, we've changed two since the last time you were on the show. So are you ready for me?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So and this can be in real time, all right? Real time,
Mm-hmm.
like right now in season, what have you. What is your favorite veggie?
Spinach.
Favorite fruit?
Oranges.
Ooh, yummy oranges. All right. Sweet, spicy, sour, salty, savory, or bitter?
Bitter.
Uh-oh. Oh, and I'm excited to ask you about this last one. What's on your playlist heavy these days? What you listening to?
Oh man. Listening to what I need to be listening to is your show more.
Tis, tis, tis.
But I told myself I need to listen to a show more. So your show is definitely coming up. But right now, I'm listening to like a combination of stuff. Like, all right, I listen to some gospel, like The Walls, but I've been also listening to Minister Farrakhan and Teacher Miles Monroe.
Oh my goodness. Oh, we got to chat offline. Amazing, amazing,
Mm-hmm.
amazing figures. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Always a pleasure for us to link up. And just thank you for giving us a peek inside what you got going on and just remaining just still
Nothing.
true to who you are and to your work. And I love you for that, man. I do. So thanks everyone for listening and peace.
Peace.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We are here live on Full Service Radio every Wednesday at 11 a.m., where you can catch today's episode on fullserviceradio.org, as well as iTunes and Spotify. Be sure to follow me at Food Talks in Color on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Are you an edible activist? Sure you are. Come join me on the show. I would love to feature you. Just shoot me a DM on the gram. Peace and blessings all. And remember, there is no culture without agriculture.